Hey guys, Asher coming at you today with another Raid Shadow Legends Champion Guide. Welcome to the video, guys. Having some good vibes your way today. We're going to talk about my favorite, my current, my only campaign farmer in the game. It is Fellhound, Demon Spawn Rare Void Affinity Champion. We're also going to go ahead and give the lore. That's right, they have lore for Fellhound. I was pretty shocked, but it's short, but it gives you a little bit of context to this champion nonetheless. So, Fellhound, as I mentioned, Demon Spawn, rare champion, definitely a rare worth keeping your hands on. A little personal anecdote here, guys, to kick off the video is I ran Queen Ava, who is a Dark Elf legendary champion. I think she's kind of underwhelming, but she's really good at campaign farming. She has this energy drain ability, attacks all enemies, damage increases, blah, 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 has an extra, resets, there it is, resets the cooldown of each of this champion's skills if any target is killed, right? So I used Queen Ava as a campaign farmer. She was taking me around 6 or 7 seconds. And then finally, I graduated from a legendary to a demon spawn in Fellhound. He is taking 4 or 5 seconds to farm campaign. Now, that might not seem like a massive game changer in terms of those 1 or 2 second savings, but it is when you extrapolate that over all the runs that we do in campaign while farming our food or our champions. So Ravage, his A1 ability, attacks all enemies, has a 35% chance of placing the weak version of decreased speed. It's an awkward ability in that it scales from defense and attack. Really weird there. However, don't be discouraged by that. It's easy to get this dude to one-shot everything on 12-3 Brutal, right? On the A2, Flameborn Vigor is actually a really sneaky good ability in Faction Wars, and most importantly in Fire Knight as well. Places a continuous heal and a reflect damage on all allies for 2 turns. So, we get a continuous heal, weak version, on a 2-turn cooldown. But then we get reflect damage on a 2-turn cooldown that lasts 2 turns. You know what I'm saying? So we get a reflect damage that's always up on our team, provided we make Fellhound fast enough, and that can really help with getting that shield down on Fire Knight. So I would say his main use case outside of campaign would be Fire Knight, and you can switch the build for Fire Knight in just a couple quick artifact changes that I'll show you along today's video when I reveal the build. He also has Deflect, plays a block damage on 1 ally for 1 turn on a 3-turn cooldown. A pretty simple support little add-on there to his kit on the A3. We have defense in Faction Crypts by 19%. Not the best aura in the world, but hey, you can use it again in Faction Wars, especially starting out when we don't even have 5 champions maxed in Demon Spawn. You can use him as your aura lead, just give that a little bit more sustainability to your team. So his base stats, 14k on the HP, 958 on the attack, and 1079. Keep in mind, again, we do care about the attack on this champion, being that he does have damage based on defense and attack. Is it required to book this champion? Unless you're using him in Fire Knight, it's not required to book Fellhound. Save your rare skill tomes. You can get a little bit extra damage, 10% out of this A1, but hopefully with the build that I'm showing you guys, and, you know, as long, you know, what I'm trying to say is it's fairly easy to get him to hit hard enough to be able to clear a campaign without having to book him, and you're only using the A1. You don't even have to customize the AI or anything. He's just going to always use his A1 anyway, well, which is really nice. So let me go ahead and show you how I have him built here. And then we'll go into a quick campaign battle. And then we'll go into the lore, and that will be a video. This will be a pretty quick one here compared to some of the more recent ones on the channel. So Fellhound here, I have him in old crappy gear. Now, on most champions that I'm doing guides on here on the channel, I've been re-gearing them. I've been making sure that everything is absolutely pristine, trying to use great examples of artifacts. But as I went to start to do this on Fellhound, I thought to myself, no, let's leave him the way he is, just in random haphazard gear here, meaning he only has 1 speed set, which isn't even necessary at all. Not everything is even upgraded, but I want to prove a point here on Fellhound. Again, it doesn't take much to make him do his job, and once he's doing his job, he's going to do it in 5 seconds regardless. You know, it's not going to be a matter of saving or shaving a little bit of time off of your runs. So if you're just using Fellhound for campaign farming, which is his main use case in the game, and again, we'll talk about Fire Knight in a moment here, you can run just any extra gear you have lying around. The sets aren't important on this champion, so don't kill yourself. This is actually a good way of using good gear, like this Cursed Gauntlet, crit damage with some crit rate, that you just have lying around as part of a curse set. I'm not using curse set on any champion in the entire game. So hey, throw some odds and ends on this champion, and you'll create a monster. You'll create a campaign farming beast. So what is most important when we talk about Fellhound? Well, let me just go ahead and before I show you his artifacts, let me show you the most important thing for campaign farming. We are on brutal difficulty. We're on 12-3, which is the best place to farm for silver and experience, getting a little bit of both. And all we need to do is have Fellhound take a turn before the enemies do. The fastest enemy is going to be Lord Shazar. His speed is 101, right? A reminder, when you look at mobs anywhere in the game in PvE, whatever you see here for their stats, those are their stats. It's not like they have artifacts on them, you know? So 101 speed is all we need to have Fellhound be faster than. So as long as he's 102 speed, he's always going to go first. Ergo, he's always going to kill everybody with his A1 ability. So that's why on our campaign farmer, if we're using them as a specialty champion, no matter who we're using, you guys can let me know who you use in the comments below, whether it's a Kale, a Bellower, a Queen Ava, as we showed earlier, or a Fellhound. We don't need them fast, which is a great luxury to have. That way we can put on their boots attack percentage or defense percentage in this case, where we need both stats, right? So I went with attack percentage. I don't even know. I have attack percentage as well on this chest, and I have crit damage on the gauntlets. So we're just maximizing his damage and his attack percentage and trying to get some defense on him as well. Now we have attack on the banner, we have crit damage, and then we have attack with some defense on the ring. So I will say here, guys, just critiquing my own build, theoretically, we probably want to go defense percentage on one of these percentage pieces of gear, either the boots or the chest. But it doesn't really matter because, again, he's easily one-shotting everybody anyway, right? So I guess what I'm trying to say is go with a combination of attack percentage and defense percentage on his boots and on his chest, running crit damage on his gauntlets. We don't care about speed. All we care about on substats, frankly, is crit rate. We want to make sure we get his crit rate to 100%. That's going to be super important. So other than that, just stack up as much attack and defense as possible. 101, 239 on the crit rate, crit damage on this champion. We have 4,000 attack here. We have 2,500 just shy of on the defense. So you know what I'm going to do, guys? I'm going to take off. Well, I don't want to take off too much crit rate here. I was going to say, I think you know what I'm going to do, guys? I'm going to take off the banner. I want to run him just stripped down here, so we're going to lose a bunch of attack here, not much defense, and I'm just going to run him without the banner, and I'm going to take off the ring too. I'm going to take off the ring. I'm going to take off the banner and the ring and see if he can still one-shot everybody with just this gear. That will move him down to a more realistic. He's still rocking the same crit rate, crit damage roughly, but then a 3,000 on the attack and only 2,100 now on the defense. On Masteries, we went down and we picked up a rare mastery that we don't normally advocate for here. It's Flawless Execution to get a little bit more crit damage out of this champion because we care mostly about him killing everybody. We also picked up Whirlwind of Death, increased speed for each enemy killed by this champion. You can also pick up Spirit Haste. Increase speed by 8 for each dead ally, stacks up to 24. Obviously, when you're farming food, there's always going to be 3 dead allies after the first hit of the enemy. So, hey, just off of that, we're going to get 24 extra speed on this champion anyway, right? So, those are the masteries we went with here, guys. Let's see if he can get the job done without his banner, without his ring on right now. And let's see how hard he hits. So, again, we're 12-3. Let's start it out. And you'll see no customization here. It's just going to be boom. See? Nice and easy. You don't even need all the stats that I showed you. Crit rate, crit damage, and that's about it. And there we go. 6 seconds. Best time, 5 seconds. A little bit of, RNG or delay on the computer right now. But, that's the magic of Fellhound, everybody. Let me show you let me just quickly talk about Fire Knight here, guys. So, the upside on Fire Knight is he has that amazing reflect on a 2-turn cooldown. The downside is he does have an AoE on the A1, right? So meaning he doesn't have a multi-hitter on his A1 ability. So he's not gonna personally help with getting that shield down. But of course he will with that reflect on the 2-turn cooldown, all the extra hits. All I really want to do is go with speed boots instead. That way he can keep up with the rest of the team. That's really it, I would probably just shut off his A3 ability, Deflect, and I would just go with alternating, essentially, between Flameborn Vigor, letting that come down from a 2-turn cooldown, going with the A1, excuse me, and then getting the reflect damage right back up. So yeah, building him a little bit faster would be ideal for Fire Knight. Also, guys, you know, there's a lot of champions out there with AoEs on the A1, but you could also use Fellhound in a stun set as a control champion too. So on Doom Tower waves or anything like that, we did a Zephyr Sniper, we did a Sister Militant guide here. I'm sure there'll be a bunch of guides on kind of stun AoE specialists here on the channel as well, but put him in a stun set. Just go with that A1. You're going to get the weak version of decreased speed on top of it, which is a nice to have. And then instead of going on the offense tree, we would just go down the defense tree, probably go down and pick up extra defense, go down blast proof, pick up resurgent, come down with delay death, come down with retribution to counterattack with his A1, and then end with fearsome presence. Increase the chances of placing a stun off of an artifact set as well by 5%. We also want to make sure that we're picking up Harvest Despair to have a chance of placing that leech when we place the stun. So those are 3 different ways you can build this champion. And again, in a stun set, you wouldn't need to prioritize all out damage like you are here. So you can go crit rate on the gauntlets instead, or you can just go defense percentage on those gauntlets and just make him a little tankier. Again, I would probably defer to defense percentage on the chest as well in that case and go speed on the boots. So those are 3 different ways you can build Fellhound. Now let's see the lore here, guys. Here he is, Fellhound. This is the whole lore story, man. Fellhounds, so he's just one of many. Fellhounds are hellish creatures of Siroth, his beasts of war. As they pass, these vicious hounds leaving charred paw prints on the small sulfur behind. According to the ancient legends, seeing one foretells the unfortunate observer's imminent death. And, considering the sharpness of the Fellhound's steel-like fangs, it is not hard to see why. Yet those somehow capture the Yet those that somehow capture and tame the beast may take great advantage of their protective magic. Hence that reflect damage and the continuous heal and the block damage on the A2 and the A3. So there we go. If you see a Fellhound, well, Grim Reaper is following nearby. So guys, that's going to do it for the video. Hopefully you enjoyed this. Take care, guys.